What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Fish at the Moment. Today, I want to talk to you about some recent struggles I've been having on the water to catch the tournament caliber bass I like to catch in my videos. And I want to discuss with you my plan for how I plan to change my preparation as well as my on-the-water approach to put bigger fish in the boat the rest of this year and into 2020. So let's get into it. Okay, so what do I mean by struggling on the water? Well, basically, over the last 2 to 3 months, I haven't been catching as many 3 to 5 pound bass during my fishing trips as I usually do this time of year. And I really like to make sure that I show better than average quality bass in my videos, because I know a lot of you guys want to learn how to catch good fish for tournaments or just catch good fish in general, because it's way more fun to catch a 3 or 4 pounder than a 12 incher. And in general, I just don't really like to make videos of me holding up a bunch of 12 inchers and being like, look at how great I am, I just caught a 12-inch bass on a shaky head. Not really my style. But, you know, the last few months, I haven't been able to consistently get those 3 to 5 pound bass in the boat. And so I've spent the last couple days really thinking about why I haven't been catching as many 3 to 5 pound bass in my recent fishing trips. And the one thing that I realized is that whenever I fish down in central Arkansas, on Lake Washita, Lake Dardanelle, Lake Atkins, places that I'm really familiar with and that I'd fished for 7 to 8 years when I was learning to fish, I can go out on those lakes pretty much any time of the year and in any conditions and catch 10 to 20 pounds of bass and consistently catch a 3 to 5 pounder. And the reason for that is because I understand the patterns that the bigger fish use on those lakes in each time of the year, just because I've spent so much time on those bodies of water. But recently I've been fishing a lot in northwest Arkansas on Grand Lake, Table Rock Lake, and Beaver Lake. And these lakes set up a little bit different from the lakes I fished in central Arkansas when I was learning to fish. And what I found is that whenever I just go fishing on these lakes without any practice or any prior knowledge, I'm struggling to consistently find the 3 to 5 pound bass. And this really makes sense when I thought about it, because the reason I was able to do so well in the lakes that I fished in central Arkansas is because I already knew the patterns that the fish use in each time of the year, some consistent areas that guys do well in tournaments, so on and so forth. And so without knowing any of that on the lakes up here, and basically just by going out and trying to figure the fish on my own, the consistency I had in central Arkansas has not translated up here. And I have some days where I go out and I catch some really good ones, and I have some days where I just go catch a bunch of 12-inch fish. And so one thing that I'm thinking about is really changing my approach to prepare for fishing days, as well as my on-the-water approach to accelerate my learning curve on these lakes and really dial in where these 3 to 5 pound bass are setting up on each of the lakes in my region in a very short amount of time, so that I can start getting back to catching those 3 to 5 pounders that I want to show you guys in my videos. Okay, so how am I going to do this? Well, there's really 3 ways I'm going to change my approach to fishing to improve my chances to catch 3 to 5 pound bass. The first thing is I'm going to do a lot more research about the areas, the baits, and the techniques that catch bigger than average quality bass on the lakes in my region. And so when I'm looking at Grand Lake, I'm going to go back and watch all of the Grand Lake Bassmaster Elite Series events and FLW Tour events and see the areas of the lake where the top pros were fishing when they caught better than average fish, 3 to 5 pounders, and the techniques they're using. And so this way I'll kind of have at least some information to go off of in terms of which creeks maybe hold bigger fish, which baits the fish might be feeding on more, and this might not give me the key to success, and I might not be able to just watch a bunch of Elite Series events and catch 3 to 5 pounders immediately, but at least it'll give me a little bit more context and a little bit more information to go off of. And as long as I'm focusing on those fish catches and the areas and baits where the guys caught 3 to 5 pounders, I think I should be able to start dialing in where these bigger fish are setting up just off of some of the information that's already publicly available to me. Next up, I need to reset my expectations for fishing in the Northwest Arkansas region. And what I've realized is that I'm going into my fishing days with no practice, no preparation, and expecting to go catch 12 to 15 pounds of bass every single trip. And that's just not realistic. And I don't care what anyone else says, I don't believe that there are many people in the world who can just go to a random fishery at a random time of the year and consistently catch 12 to 15 pounds. Even if you are an Elite Series angler, an FLW Tour pro. A lot of these guys, when you watch them on the FLW Tour, the Bassmaster Elite Series, Major League Fishing Tour, these guys are getting 2 to 3 days of practice before the events. And they're also getting information from friends and locals before the information cutoffs. And a lot of these guys are also fishing these lakes year over year over year. And so like Kevin Van Dam fished Grand Lake 15 times before and knows how the fish kind of set up. And he can use all of his past time on the lake to help him find fish. And so comparing yourself to Elite Series pros is a little bit difficult just because they do a lot more preparation before their fishing trips and they have more practice time before their trips, which allows them to be very consistent. And so to kind of replicate this, I'm going to use what I talked about before, which is looking at old Elite Series events to give me some extra knowledge. And I'm also going to start doing a quote-unquote practice day for my fishing trips. And so what I'm going to do is actually fish 2 days in a row, and I'm going to treat one day as a practice day where I don't go out expecting to catch any fish. I just want to learn the body of water, maybe get a few bites to judge what the fish are doing, but not really go with the goal of catching much. And then the next day, treat it like an 8-hour tournament day and try to catch a 12 to 15 or 20 pound limit of bass. And I think that this is really going to help me be a lot more consistent and get me a lot better results, just because I'm not going into a fishing day with little to no information and no preparation for my day. And obviously this isn't feasible for everybody. I own my own fishing business, so I can go fishing as much as I want, which is really nice. Thank you guys for your support to allow me to do that. But really what I want to try to do is also use this new approach to inform you guys on maybe better ways to practice for fishing tournaments or for a fishing day, or maybe what your expectation should be going into a fishing trip if you don't have any practice to go on. And so I'm going to be doing a lot of experimenting over the next 6 months, a year, and really dial in how I need to be practicing for a fishing day to be successful and catch really good fish. And then at the same time, I also want to start honing my tournament fishing skills by using this kind of approach of a practice day plus a good fishing day to prepare myself for some upcoming derbies next year in the spring and hopefully do some tournament videos for you guys. And so I have a lot of ideas with this new approach, but definitely implementing the practice day plus the actual fishing day is going to be really, really big, and hopefully is going to help me catch a lot of good fish. And then the last thing I'm going to do is actually use the data that I collected for a past video where I broke down the baits I use to catch my 3+ pound bass in every single season of the year. And if you haven't seen this video, check it out. It's a pretty cool video. It has a lot of good heat maps that will help give you an idea of which types of baits I use in each time of the year and which ones help me catch bigger than average fish. And I'm basically going to use the baits that caught me the most 3 to 5 pound bass almost exclusively during my fishing days going forward. And the reason for this is because these are the baits I have confidence in. I know they work in my region of the country, and I also have a lot of data showing that these baits help me catch bigger than average fish. So there's no point in carrying a bunch of other baits on the deck of the boat and throwing a bunch of other stuff when I know these baits work. And so I'm going to really focus on those key baits. I'm going to practice for my fishing days and kind of show you guys how I will do that. And I'll also do a lot more preparation before I go to the lake on the lakes I'm fishing. And these 3 things should really allow me to consistently catch that 12 to 15 pound bag of 5 bass that I'll need if I'm going to compete in tournaments next year, or at least be consistent in tournaments, maybe be up for like an Angler of the Year. And I also should be able to give you guys some really interesting results just based on this kind of trial and error approach. And so I'm sure there's gonna be some days where I go out and I absolutely do terrible. My practice day maybe is great, my tournament, or the tournament day, quote unquote tournament day, is bad, or vice versa. But either way, I'm gonna film all of it, the practice day, the actual fishing day, as well as some of my techniques for researching lakes, and just share the whole process with you guys. And hopefully it'll be really informative and help you guys catch a lot more good fish in 2020. And so just wanted to kind of let you guys know what was on my mind, what I was thinking about in terms of bass fishing, and how I want to improve myself, because I definitely don't know everything there is to bass fishing, not even close. And all I want to do with you guys is share what I know in a very open and kind of transparent way. And so that's always been the goal of Fish the Moment. And I don't want to go around saying, you know, I'm the best fisherman in the world or anything like that. I want to admit when I'm struggling, and I also want to show you guys how I'm going to make it right by changing my fishing approach and getting back on those good fish that you guys know I'm capable of catching. So thanks again for checking out this video, guys. I think that it's going to be a really fun few months figuring out how to actually do all the stuff I talked about in this video. And so I'll be making videos like this. I'm actually gonna go out tomorrow to start this series, and I'll take you guys along for the ride the whole way. So thanks again for checking out this video, guys, and I'll see y'all in the next one.